Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show. And it's a very special week on the RP Show as we're between Christmas and New Year's. And if you've been following this show, as we're now into year 3, we do the best ofs. And I tell you what's a little different. Let's bring in the Moose right now. The Moose, Darren DuPont. I, of course, continue to broadcast from himself. Florida, the Moose is in his hometown. He's at Wynyard Composite High School right now. And Moose, normally it's the staff, it's yourself, to a certain extent, a little bit of me, but Director Jordan, producer Clark, coming up with the best clips of the year on the RP Show. And I'll run down the list of what we got on this best of episode of the RP Show. But we had a little help from some staff this year, if I'm not mistaken, some kids. Tell the viewers about that.
That's right. That was actually one of the great parts about 2021 was kind of the evolution of the interns. Now, we go back a year or two when we had Connor Wallman, the intern, and we had Alan, the intern.
He was our first.
Originally, those were our first interns. And then this year it blossomed. Rachel was part of our group. And then we had, Olivia and Andrew. And it was our interns that are put together all of our best of the year shows. They had been going back and watching all the episodes, going through clips, and pulling all of our best interviews and segments from the past year so that you guys can enjoy them now here during the holiday season. So that's how we came up with the list.
Well, like I say, some pretty big names here today. You're going to hear from Pittsburgh Penguins VP of Hockey, Brian Burke, and that was way back before last year's NHL trade deadline because some dummy asked him if he would consider trading Sidney Crosby. And you're going to be watching for Berkey's response on that. Also, Paul Bissonnette, one half of the Spit and Chicklets podcast, will be joining us. Biz Nasty will be joining us from Arizona. Also, Dave Poulin. If you're an 80s hockey fan, which, again, disclaimer to our viewers, Darren was born in 1987, so I don't think the name Dave Poulin means a ton to you other than what you see on TSN SportsCenter all the time. But for me, I was a huge fan of Dave Poulin playing for the Philadelphia Flyers and the Boston Bruins. He's from Timmins, Ontario. You may know of one or two other famous people from Timmins, Ontario. So we talked with Pooley about that. And also Julie Stewart-Binks joined us from New York, where she's the host of a couple of award-winning shows, Call It a Night and Drinks with Binks. So it was a fun year. And I don't know, Darren, where you want to go here in this opening segment. We have a lot of time here. I don't know if we're going to open it up to talk about time viewer segments here or not, but we're not going to go through. I guess if I'd have thought about it, we could have done a quick 6 show topic, top stories of the year on the RP Show, but I don't think we'll necessarily do that. But it was a fun year with big guests. And the one thing when we do these year-end shows is I was looking at my commentary scripts for the radio stations that carry my daily commentary. And let's give them a shout out, Cat Country 98 and Rock 98.5 FM. Back-to-back winners. That seems to be a vogue thing. Do you think that's a COVID thing, a trend, or what? Grey Cup champion, back-to-back Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning, back-to-back. How do you explain that?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often.
It's crazy. Well, and you say it like that, and it makes me think on the spot that maybe this is a COVID thing, because it feels like one giant pandemic, right, that we can't get out of. And in sports, it kind of feels like one giant season because we're having games played at all different times. The year has been different. The Grey Cup's in December. The Stanley Cup was in, what month was the Stanley Cup? And I can't remember in the hub, in the bubble. We had
July.
WHL hub in July. So we had all kinds of things out of whack. It feels like one giant season. So the continuity between the organizations makes a lot of sense to me. It makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I was actually going back and thinking about this just before Christmas about trying to remember the timelines. And I'd have to literally sit down and think about it. But it was August 1st of 2020. If anybody was paying attention, we broke the story on this show that the NHL would start playing on August 1st, but nobody was listening and everybody thought that I was crazy. Whatever. So they played August, September, October, and they handed out the Stanley Cup. That was Tampa's first Stanley Cup. And then last year was a 56-game COVID-shortened season that went into July of 2021. That's my point. When Tampa Bay won the Stanley Cup for a second consecutive season. Now, there's that. Grey Cup, 2019, Winnipeg bullies the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Calgary. What was it, 33-15 or something, 32-15, something like that. Wasn't even close. And then they don't play in 2020. And then they come back in 2021, and Winnipeg posts pretty much a wire-to-wire championship. And then, as we all know, go on to win in overtime of the Grey Cup. Was it single or double overtime? It was single overtime, 33-25 over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And so you see what I'm saying? You literally have to sit down. And sports is a wonderful reference point, right? If we didn't have sports, how would we be referencing what's gone on in the last 21, 22 months? How could we do it? Like as marker points.
Think about it. No, you think about it. What is the marker that signifies the beginning of the pandemic? Rudy Gobert, right? Utah Jazz, yanked off the floor with COVID. That's the beginning of the pandemic. And then everybody reacting and which leagues are going to shut down and what's going to happen. And I know we talked about this last year, but yeah, sports, you're right. That's the marker for, when things happen and what season we're in and how we remember timelines, for sure.
Again, coming up on this best of episode, Paul Bissonnette, Brian Burke, Dave Poulin, and Julie Stewart-Binks. I do have to say one thing here, and I wanted to bring this up with you in these best of shows. And Game Plus Television, obviously, is our television partner. We love them, and it's going to be a long-time relationship, and we're so excited to be on the television channel, no doubt. What is it now? Over 2 million homes in Canada and the United States. We air daily at noon Eastern. But just before Christmas, we had Frank Saravelli on, and he's a guy that producer Clark's been chasing for a long time. And Frank was with TSN, and I think when he was with TSN, he wasn't returning our messages too much. Then he's not with TSN anymore, and he's returning our messages because he's hosting the Daily Face-Off Show, which is a digital show co-hosted by our friend Jason Greger from TSN 1260 Edmonton. But Frank came on the show the very day that he broke the story that the NHL wasn't going to be sending the players to the Olympics. Frank has been one of the top NHL insiders for a long time. And I had to look him up because when he appeared one day, just out of the blue on TSN, I had no idea who he was. I don't know if you did, years ago. And he was covered the Flyers for the Philadelphia Inquirer. But the newspaper industry's kind of gone the way of the dodo. Frank came on the show and talked about digital sports and the freedom it allows and how much fun it is. And Darren, he said, you're having a beautiful day there in Florida. You look like you're having just as much fun as me. He acted, Darren, like he knew me. He doesn't. But very nice guy. And do you think that 2022 is the year where people really clue into how much fun we have every day? Because it just seems like they haven't clued in as we're into year 3 as to how much fun we have every day and why we love it so much. They just can't seem to get their head around it.
I know. And that's, hey, it's okay if you don't, but it is fun every single day, being so invested in what we're doing, in what we're passionate about, doing what we love to do on a daily basis. That is, at the end of the day, that's the secret sauce, but it's 2 parts, right? Finding out what you love to do and then figuring out how to get paid to do it, right? If you can combine those, I mean, life becomes pretty easy. We are finding that, and it's constantly working at it, never putting your feet up. Never being satisfied. But yeah, these guys are starting to figure that out too. And it's fun when people notice.
Well, for sure. And like I say, but it's always the media people that notice first. I think a lot of the viewers, they just kind of get sucked into how much fun we're having. That's why they watch every day, but they don't really understand what it's like to be in our shoes and why we love it so much. And speaking of that, we kind of look back here. We said the NHL back-to-back champions are Tampa Bay. The CFL back-to-back champions are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Because the NLL missed 2 playoffs and an entire season last year, we're all kind of just getting indoctrinated again into what the NLL is doing. I couldn't remember, Darren, who was the defending champion of the NLL. I had to go. I thought Buffalo initially, and I'm like, no, it's Calgary. But did Calgary, sorry to put you on the spot, but did Calgary beat Buffalo in the league championship? I think they did, was what it was. But it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But at least. But we discerned that it was the Calgary Roughnecks, and our Calgary viewers chimed in with the fact that, yes, it was the Calgary Roughnecks who won what used to be called the Champions Cup, and now I think they just call it the NLL Championship. But I guess my question to you is, as we go into the Christmas holidays and we had this NHL COVID break over Christmas, do you even want to take a stab at what's ahead in 2022 for sports, or you just still want to take it one day at a time?
No, I think we are going to avoid big lockdowns. I really do. I know the governments are trying to slow us down over the holidays, and we saw it. It started in Ontario, Quebec, and really shutting things down. No fans, but I don't think we're going to go that way in terms of sports. We may in terms of fans in stands and the way we consume sports, but I think it's about adapting on the fly. It's also about making sure your players are safe, not spreading it. And we know the vaccines are effective because we're not seeing as many serious illnesses and deaths. So we're pretty confident about that's helping. We still don't know long-term effects and stuff, but sports is going to continue to be something that's top of mind. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the leagues to do right, what's right. And one side will say shut down, the other side will say keep playing. So the only prediction I can make is probably a little more uncertainty, but not in terms of what we saw back in 2020 where the leagues just went away. Everything's going to be more temporary.
Well, and as I say, you say the leagues will do what's right. What's right? What's the definition of what's right? I mean, I look at some of the comments from our viewers on the last show that I did before Christmas, and they're saying sports is special. Sports has meant so much to my mental health, and we're 21 months into this, and they were shutting down all the sports leading up to Christmas. It's frustrating. I know it's not up to you and me, and I don't want it. Is the Christmas holidays. It's our best of episode, so let's drop it and move on to looking forward to this. The news broke just before Christmas that Chris Jones has been hired as the next head coach and general manager of the Edmonton Elks. And this is the one thing that I'll repeat to our viewers. I never thought we'd see Chris Jones again. When he left in January of 2018 to go to 2019, sorry, here's me again, 2019, going to the NFL with the Cleveland Browns, where he would spend 2 seasons. I didn't think we'd ever see him again. So now he's back as well. He left his high school team in the middle of the season, which isn't going over very well in some football circles, but whatever. He's not worrying about it. He goes to the Argos as the defensive coordinator mid-season, and they go all the way to the East Final, and they blow a big halftime lead in the East Final against Hamilton and end up losing to the Ticats. Chris Jones was under contract for 2022 with Toronto. From what I understood, the Argos didn't want to let him go, but they knew that they couldn't block him from going to Edmonton for an elevation like that. What do you think it means for the CFL? And I'll answer this once you're done. The CFL, the West Division specifically, and then the Edmonton Elks, that Chris Jones is back running the show in the City of Champions.
It's great for the CFL. It's awesome. And whether you think that this is a traveling circus, a roadshow, whether he is a good person, a bad person, you like him, you hate him, doesn't matter. He's a personality and he's good for the game. And when he's a key personnel in the Canadian Football League, i.e. running an organization, being a head coach, he's a focal point. He's going to be in the news, and it's a storyline. And it puts Edmonton back on the map. Not saying Jamie Elizondo didn't do that, but it puts them back on the map in a positive way. And you look at the characters across the West. I mean, Rick Campbell in BC is a highly successful coach. John Hufnagel and Dave Dickinson have really ruled the West. Mike O'Shea is the new king of the West in Winnipeg. And then Craig Dickinson and Jeremy O'Day in Saskatchewan. Now you've got Chris Jones, a real anchor in Edmonton, swinging with the heavy hitters. Now you've got names and personalities, and it's wonderful for the rivalries. I don't know if Edmonton's going to be a contender right away out of the gate in 2022, but they'll be better, and they'll be on a path forward. So I think it's incredibly exciting for the fans too.
We had a texter, Rose Henry, write in from Edmonton on the 902 line, 902-518-3033. And Rose said, what do you think, Rod? Does the hiring of Jones make the Elks an immediate contender? Well, they absolutely do, because consider there's 380 free agents in the CFL. I don't know what that breaks down to per team, but we knew Saskatchewan had over 50. I'm not sure what Edmonton had, but all that means is, assuming everybody complies with the salary cap, and I'm not sure that everybody will, but you can mix and match and pull whatever players you want, and you could be a contender within months. And assuming everybody's on an even playing field, let's say they're all starting at zero, because you almost are with over 50 free agents per team, if that's kind of what it is. Of course, the Edmonton Elks are Grey Cup contenders right out of the gate. And back to him being good for the CFL, it kind of depends on what your definition of what's good for the CFL is. But from a storyline standpoint and trying to get people watch the games, he's tremendous for the CFL because think of this. He's the villain. Even he would tell you that he's the villain. And he's fine with that. He got Cody Fajardo, who's the angel. Wait till those two meet for the first time. Saskatchewan, Edmonton. Let's go look at this. Look at the schedule. By the way, say that again. I thought somebody was talking in my ear. Anyways, when Chris Jones and Cody Fajardo go head to head, what a storyline that'll be. And sometimes I'm not sure people understand that. Anyways, Moose, we'll get into our interview segments after this. Good seeing you, my man. How was your Christmas, by the way?
Great seeing you. Amazing, as always. Great to see family and friends. How about you in paradise?
It's warm. That's all that matters. Our best of show continues right after this. You're watching the RP show, Holidays Edition on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and, of course, 24-hour sports radio at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
In the heat of the summer, familiar sounds, feeling the air, it's the best thing anywhere. Just give me back my game. 'Cause I live for the drama, I live for the emotion. No one can take me down, bring me back my football.
BetRegal.net, exclusive sports gaming partner of the CFL.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit aurorarecoverycenter.com for more information today.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time. Big time.
A Landmark Cinemas $30 gift card with $40 in great movie savings is the perfect gift to give, or give to yourself. Get yours today in theater or online at landmarkcinemas.com and make it a merry movie season. Landmark Cinemas, for movie lovers.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? We have something really special.
Holy, it's pretty impressive.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
We're going to Steel Town now. President of hockey operations of the Penguins, Brian Burke, joins us today. Good afternoon, Burkie. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Rod. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again. Looking forward to you coming to Regina for the U of R event. And you know what? A lot of viewers have questions for you, Brian, but I got a few out of the gate. I've seen you at the U of R dinner, seen you at the Estevan Bruins dinner, seen you at all these dinners. Are there as many across the country, or is this like a Saskatchewan thing? Because as you know, these are like our biggest fundraisers. Do you do them all over the place?
Yeah, pretty well. It's Saskatchewan's just so much fun to visit. The people are so great. So I try to do everyone I get asked to do there. But no, I've done them from the Maritimes to Vancouver. So yeah, there are a lot of them. But it's an important part of the job. I think in the NHL, we have to give back. That's been a central theme of mine every place I've worked, every day of my life. So to me, it's important, and I'm looking forward to it. I would much prefer to come in person, maybe next year.
Oh, I know how it was all coming. We'd love to have you. We'd love when you come. Kevin BX is speaking with you this year. So there's that, and I'll get to more on that. But how's it being a Pittsburgh Penguin, by the way? You made yourself comfortable now. How is it?
Let's see. I got my warm-up jacket on.
Other side.
There's the logo.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten the hang of these video calls that you'd think I would after a year. But am I looking at the camera right now? I think I am.
You're perfect. You're perfect.
Good. So I want to watch you while you're talking, and then I'm not looking at the camera. So I'm looking at the camera. It's wonderful. A great ownership group here, Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux. The facilities are as good as any in the league. I think the best, the arena and the practice arena. Fan base is fantastic. Successful franchise. It's a lot like Green Bay to me in the NFL. You know, like a successful franchise, solid, crazy local support, great fans, in the best sports town in America. So I look at all those things, get a chance to work with some great players too, get a chance to work with Hexie, and our CEO, David Morehouse, is widely regarded as one of the best executives in pro sports. So this all checked all the boxes for me. I was pretty well determined that I was out.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot of mutual friends, and so there are some great questions coming in. But Rich Sutter said to me on the day that you guys were hired, he's like, Hexie and Burkie going to Pittsburgh, 2 former Flyers. And I'd mentioned that on the air, and somebody said, Burkie was never a Flyer. Yes, he was. Can you talk about that? You signed in the 70s, Maine Merit. Do you consider yourself if Rich Sutter considers you a Flyer, you're a Flyer.
Well, a lot of people don't understand when you're an American Hockey League player, you're under contract to an NHL team. In most cases, there are AHL contracts as well. But I did not sign with the Maine Mariners. I signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. I consider myself a former Flyer, but we hate the Flyers here in Pittsburgh. So now I'm a Penguin.
Yeah, but that was Sutter's point, obviously. He's like, how about the irony of Hexie and Burkie going to Pittsburgh?
And if you go back, and I know you know this, Rod, you might not know the exact figures, but the team I played for, the Maine Mariners, we were Calder Cup champions. But the more important thing is, like, 8 or 9 of us went on to management, coaching, or scouting careers. Like the late, great Keith Allen, who's the GM who signed me, Mr. Allen, he knew how to identify character people. So Al Hill was on that team, scouted for years for the Flyers. John Paddock was on that team, as people know, NHL coach, longtime CHL coach, great guy. Both goaltenders on that team, Rick St. Croix and Pete Peters, went on to be goalie coaches in the NHL. Terry Murray was on that team, coached in the NHL forever. Like, they identified a lot of key. Dennis Patterson scouted for the Flyers for 25 years, I think. So they identified character people. And the thing I'm proudest of from that part of the Flyers organization is how many people Mr. Allen identified that went on to careers in the game. That's pretty impressive off one AHL team.
And let's not forget the great Drew Callender, who's never taken off that Maine Mariners ring, and he used to wear it across the bus from me with the Pats forever, and he's still working for the Regina Pats. And I know you guys speak often. So are you good to take some viewer questions, or do you want to say something about the captain? I call him the captain, Drew Callender.
Well, his nickname on the team was Joe, because we had a French-Canadian kid from Sudbury named Guy Delpart who could not say Drew. So he started calling him Joe. So everybody started calling him Joe. So Joe scored 40 goals on that team. He scored the only goal in the game. We beat a team from Russia, which was quite a thing. Great guy. That famous bloody picture of me you can find online. Actually, Joe did that. we were playing a game, messing around after practice in Halifax, and Drew got me right in the head with a stick, cut my eyebrow wide open. And that famous picture that goes around with me is from Drew Callender. And then he went on to a great career with the Regina Police Force, and then, of course, has gone on and been a valuable addition to the Pats. So he's a great guy. Yeah, I do keep in touch with Joe.
Saved my life one night in Spokane. I might have been out of line, Berkey. I can thank Joe for that. Anyways, from Jeremy Knight, he says he's watching in Toronto from the Jays Care Foundation. He says Pittsburgh can become the first team in NHL history with an All-American coaching staff to win a Stanley Cup. After all he's done to grow hockey in the States, would this be extra special for Brian?
Well, this is really, I sat down and thought about this when Pittsburgh offered me the job. I thought I was out. And then I started checking the boxes. And when you sit around with a bunch of GMs and you talk about dream jobs, Pittsburgh's one that comes up. So I always wanted to win more than one cup. I'd like to do it here. We've got some work to do. We know that. But it is, working in Canada is special because the game is so loved up there. And every chance I got, I worked in Canada. But Pittsburgh is special too. And I'm thrilled. Like I'm still pinching myself. I texted someone right before I came on saying, I feel like a kid who just got let in the candy store again.
No, I know, but Brian, I watched you every day on Sportsnet and heard Drew's stories, talked to Sutter. Let's just say it. They said Berkey was out because he was only going to work for the team where he wanted to go to work for the boss every day. It's Mario. Have I read that wrong? That's what's got you so excited about this.
It's all of them. Ron Burkle's the other owner who's terrific. Mario, we've got some limited partners. I just met a couple of them yesterday on a Zoom call. They're fantastic. So you go, okay, what do you need to succeed as a hockey executive? You need good ownership. Check. You need a CEO who gets it. David Morehouse. Check. You need the facilities to win. Check. You need some good players to build around. Check. You need an avid, rabid sports base. Season ticket holder. We've sold out hundreds of games here consecutively. Check. So to me, I really can't imagine. I did get one other opportunity 2 years ago, and I said no. So this checked all the boxes. But yeah, Mario, is it cool? You work for Mario and work with Mario? Yeah, it's pretty cool. He looks like he could still play.
Of course he does.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week. or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It is our best of the year episode of the Rod Pedersen Show, and happy holidays to you and Merry Christmas, of course. And I tell you what, I would say we had some fun with this next upcoming interview. It's with Paul Bissonnette of the very popular Spit and Chicklets podcast. For the young people and for the old people, we could say that he's the Don Cherry of this generation. Very popular with the young people. A former NHLer, of course. One half of the most famous podcast in hockey, Spit and Chicklets. As a matter of fact, we referred to him as the White Whale, one of the biggest guests that we've ever had on this program. Not that easy to get. Just so happened that I got to be friends with him while hanging around the Arizona Coyotes a few years ago. So Biz Nasty joined us to talk about all kinds of things, including his closet Leaf love, growing up in Welland, Ontario, and he joined us the day after the World Junior Gold Medal final last year when Canada lost 2-0 to the USA. Let's go back and have a watch. The time is here. We got a lot of comments on those jerseys, by the way, that I just threw up, and I'll get to those in a minute, but we're not going to keep this guy waiting. Phoenix Coyotes, great. Paul Bissonnette joins us from the Valley of the Sun, from the Spit and Chicklets podcast. Biz, hey, they reminded you that we're on national television live, right? Just the language thing. They told you that, right?
Yeah, I'll dial in. I'm a little bit jealous of your setup. I thought I had a cool setup here. You got the whole studio there. You even got a sidekick.
So do you. An American one, by the way, which is where I want to start, Biz.
Of course.
Is your day horrible with the Americans winning and you living in America?
No, I think anytime the expectations going in, you know, when it's a one-game final, is you never know. I thought the Americans played a good game, and I just, there's a lot of pressure going on these Canadian kids, a lot of first-rounders. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they couldn't really muster much up. That was probably the most frustrating part. But they ran into a hot goaltender and a team that had a lot of will. And I think most of the attention ended up going to the Barrel post game.
No kidding. I woke up this morning enraged. I saw the picture. I'm like, what? And then I got the explanation that, it's got nothing to do with a garbage can and Team Canada. I'm not even sure I'm buying it. What do you think about the Barrel?
Oh, I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was odd that they brought it on the ice. And obviously when that happened and with social media, how quickly things can catch fire. I think it raised the tension post-game and it created a little bit of a separate storyline. But ultimately, they played awesome. They deserve to win. Happy for the other guys on the podcast. I'm kind of outnumbered 3-1, and they were digging in pretty good on the group chat.
But Biz, stop. It's gotta hurt, man. Like I watched the videos. I logged on in between periods, and Whitney's running around singing "We Are the Champions." Like, have they not rubbed it in today, or have you just turned your phone off?
No, the one thing, it was just I thought that Finland outplayed the States in the semifinal game. And I thought that Canada had a pretty good stranglehold on Russia. And I thought, just given with the extra 3-4 hours rest, because they played earlier, that they were going to steamroll them. And I mean, I think a lot of the hype of the not giving up a goal 5-on-5, and then all of a sudden they were the first ones to get on their heels when the United States finally potted one 5-on-5. And it just seemed after that, United States really settled in. And as I mentioned, I'd say the most frustrating part, other than on maybe the power play, there wasn't a ton of sustained pressure for Canada. I thought the United States just did an incredible job with their game plan and executing it.
Craig Campbell, the executive director of the Hockey Hall of Fame in downtown Toronto, is watching, and he says, quality touch with the Hudson's Bay blanket on the couch. Where'd you scoop that, Biz? Did you bring that from home, or what's the story?
No, that was actually a gift from the CEO of Barstool, Erica Nardini. She sent it over for Christmas. I've been going hiking a lot. I think maybe that's why she sent it over. I'll be bringing this on my hiking trips, but I love it. I love the colors. I'd seen them around, but I didn't know exactly what it is. I don't even know the story behind it. What's Hudson's Bay?
That was their logo, probably still is. Well, it's the Bay. Well, in Ontario, it must have had a Bay store, I would think.
This is the Pendleton Home Collection. No free ads, by the way, on this.
Yeah, no kidding. The Bay, that was their logo, those colors for years and years and years, and I think they still are, the department store. Look, one more on the game. Let me just ask you this. At what point did you get worried that this might not be our night? Where were you?
Right at the beginning of the second, when they got their second, and that was just. I thought you were going to come out and see a different Canada team. I thought maybe they were going to take a little bit of the momentum off of that power play late in the first period. I think they hit a post there, and then Byfield had a glorious chance right in the slot area. I don't know when he tipped it if it ended up just going right up into the mesh or if he missed it outright. But yeah, when they scored that early one, and then all of a sudden it was 2-0. It was they just couldn't muster up anything after that, really.
I know. I started to get those tingles like, oh, no, it's happening, and we can't stop it.
Well, that's what's frustrating in a situation like this. They're playing in back-to-back, and often throughout the tournament, they're relying heavily on their top guys, to where it's like, in a back-to-back situation, like, especially even throughout the course of a season, is like some nights, like, your top guys might not have the juice that they had the night before. I'm not saying they played bad, but who are going to be the other guys? So, like, divvying up the ice time and maybe riding a hotter line if it is your fourth line. But really, in this situation, their big guns weren't able to muster up enough offense, and I don't think they even had anyone in the depth lines that they could turn to where they could hand the reins over in order to lug that ice. But at the end of the day, like I said, you just got to tip your cap to the States. And anytime you find yourselves in these situations against the United States in the final, it's never a guarantee, as we know now, 4 in a row.
I'm with you. We have a year to suck on this until next year when we can get them back. Now, Biz, I was telling the viewers this earlier. I don't know if you remember. You know that saying, the elevator visit? You and I had one in the Gila River Arena press box a few years ago, because you started following me on Twitter the next day. I said, you honestly believe it takes 5 years for a rebuild? Remember that? And you winked and you said, got to sell it. And at that time, the Coyotes were in year 3 of the rebuild. And then in year 5, the Coyotes make the playoffs for the first time since 2012. And it's almost like the rebuild was achieved. It was our elevator visit. It was about a 25-second long chat about the Coyotes rebuild. Yeah. Is the rebuild complete in Arizona, or where are they on the cycle?
I think we've taken a couple steps back over the last 6 months. It's been a bit of a tough go. Of course, spending up to the cap, losing a lot of assets with a few different reasons here. Obviously, bringing over Taylor Hall at the deadline, losing some to the issue with training guys before the draft. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that situation. But in today's NHL, given the cap situation and how young the league's gone, I think 5 years is plenty of time for a rebuild. At one point, I really liked where it was heading. I thought that at one point it did get rushed, and then contracts were maybe given out. But once again, that's the new NHL before they, fully been earned. But if you're trying to catch these players on the upslope, where at the end of the contracts you're getting a bargain, then I guess we're going to have to see it play out. But as far as a rebuild's concerned, Coyotes are going to have a little bit more work to do here. And fortunately, they do have a few good pieces with Darcy Kemper and net. There was some a lot of trade talks with Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I'm sure that settled down, and I'm not sure he's going to move this year. At least give it one more go. And then they got a couple young guys up front. I mean, we just talked about the Team USA, like Clayton Keller. He's a big piece. They signed him to a long-term extension. They also have Nick Schmaltz, who they brought over from Chicago, who, when he's been healthy, he's shown some great signs of producing high-end offense. So as far as the rebuild is concerned, and if in today's NHL, are you able to do it in 5 years? Absolutely. I mean, you're seeing tons of teams flipping around, maybe in even a shorter term span than that. But as far as the Coyotes are concerned, I think that they've had some moves that have hurt them, that have set them back some time here.
Well, they're my third favorite team behind the Golden Knights, Oilers, and then the Coyotes are in there. Are we going to see a radical shift in philosophy under Bill Armstrong from John Chayka, or more of the same, do you think? Strategy.
I mean, he's going to have to come in and prove it. I mean, he's been able to do it as an assistant GM with St. Louis, and as far as their draft record and how they've been able to develop players and then continue to keep the organization relevant. I mean, yeah, he's been there, done that, and seen one of the best in the business, and Doug Armstrong do it. So I would imagine that he's going to be able to take that over here. I don't think it's something that where you just kind of click your finger, because there still are a lot of question marks as far as, with the lack of assets in the draft that we do have coming up in the next few years. How, what is going to be the plan with that? How are you going to manage the assets that you have that might keep you, for instance, we have Darcy Kemper in net, right? It's kind of a Carey Price situation, and I know that's very high praise, but if you look at Darcy Kemper's numbers over the last few years, he's an elite world-class goaltender. Is he going to make your team so good to where you remain competitive, but you just miss out of playoffs, to where you're never getting these high-end draft picks that are going to end up coming in and making an impact? Ultimately, you've seen all these teams that have been able to turn it around very quickly. There's a common denominator here, is they end up having a high-end impact player drafted first or second or third overall, and or done by committee that can come in and change the organization. I mean, Austin Matthews with Toronto, Jack Eichel's a game breaker in Buffalo, who they can build around, although that might not be the best example given the struggles that they've had in the recent years. But they got some things to figure out, Rod, and there's no way to really sugarcoat it. But I respect the question, and yes, I'm trying to sell it as best as possible, being an employee of the Coyotes here.
I'll never forget when you got to sell it. God bless these viewers. Corey in Winnipeg. Hey, Biz, is Phil Kessel sleeping on your other couch, still renting from you? Please don't wake him up. Yes, yeah. Chris in Toronto. 5 years is enough for a rebuild? Could someone please tell Brendan Shanahan? In Toronto, so there's that.
Everybody's really antsy about the Leafs. I feel like they're coming into their time now. I mean, it's easy to judge the last few years. They still have had a very young core group if you look at it. But I would say the time to probably start judging would be this year. Now that they got some more veteran experience in there, I think Joe Thornton's really going to help. I mean, not only with the on-ice stuff, but I think deflecting a lot of the negativity in the media. Would you say that it gets to the point where it's a little bit toxic, where even when things are going well, they're finding things to create storylines? So I think I'm very optimistic as a closet Leafs fan that this year they will definitely make some strides.
I gotta bring this up, by the way. Speaking of being a closet Leafs fan, because you're a Welland guy, do you know this Ben Vanderklok? Because I brought this up to Rich Sutter the other day. He's the goalie coach for the Predators. I'd never heard of him before. I said he's going to have his hands full with Askarov. And I see you guys are from the same hometown.
Yes, Ben Vanderklok. I believe he played for the Cougars, Welland Cougars at one point. I believe they were called the Welland Cougars at the time. But great goaltender, ended up going on. He had a bunch of goalie schools back home. All of a sudden, he'd hopped on with the Preds, and I believe he's been there for at least a good 5 or 6 years now and had a lot of success at the NHL level. So Rod, it was crazy. During this one period of time, we ended up having, I think, 7 players from Welland in the NHL at one time. Which, if you're familiar with Matt Ellis, he was with Buffalo. Oh, yeah. I think he started his career with the Detroit Red Wings. And keep in mind here, we're talking about a town of 50,000 people. And we were just very fortunate where we had a lot of good members of the community who helped out with the minor hockey system. And we ended up having this massive wave. I mean, Dan Paille won a cup with Boston. Cal Clutterbuck, who's had a very good career. He's still playing with the Islanders. Dan Girardi, who almost hit 1,000 games. Jamie Tardif, who snuck in. I throw Nathan Horton in the mix because he played his minor hockey in Welland. Mind you, he was a freak of nature, so he was playing junior B in that same league that Vanderklok was in at 13 years old. But yeah, Vandy's had a great post career, and I couldn't be happier for the gang from back home in Welland, Ontario.
Horton was a World Juniors hero, if I'm not mistaken, too. Was he not, for Canada? And I think he was. I'd have to look it up. Boy, obviously, Biz, a flood of questions coming in. I won't keep you too long here, but Robin in Prince Albert says, who are you kidding? Matthews will sign in Arizona after his current contract. And look, Gary Drummond and Anthony LeBlanc are good friends of mine. That's how I got down there. And their rebuild was this for Austin Matthews. As you know, that was the plan. And this team, they still, I believe, still left it better than when they found it. I really do. But do you believe that the day comes that Austin Matthews wears a Coyotes jersey?
I mean, I don't know if I say yeah, and if I speak on it, it's tampering. I don't want to get us fined. And I can't have the Coyotes losing any more draft picks here, Rod. All right. It would be cool. I mean, he grew up watching Donor and developing a bit here in Arizona. I know he ended up going off and going some places like Europe before he started his NHL career. But he signed that big deal in Toronto, although it was a 5-year deal extension, and I think it would be cool to have him back here. I think it would be great for the game. You mentioned that the praying aspect and hoping that they were going to land him, that would have been a big time game changer for the organization. And it just so happens when I was talking about those high-end draft picks, Coyotes have never gotten much luck in the draft. I think the highest they've ever picked is third. They got Kyle Turris at third. And the year I want to say that was it Matthews was available, they ended up getting Dylan Strome third, who is no longer with the organization. So those are the types of guys that would change the whole dynamic of an organization. And he would be very, very well received here. And speaking of Phil Kessel sleeping on my couch, Austin Matthews can sleep. I'll sleep on the couch. He can sleep in my bed, just not with my old lady.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, there's a lot of questions coming in. I don't want the full story because I don't think we have time. But Jim in New Jersey is watching. He wants to know the arena where you scored your first goal and if you still have the goal light. Where'd that happen, Biz?
Okay, so this is a Budweiser goal light, but that's a Coyotes photo with a Pittsburgh Penguins puck, and that was my 200th NHL game. And oddly enough, it was against the Penguins, who drafted me and gave me my start in the NHL. So it was obviously a special night. I got that there. But as far as my first goal, I ended up scoring against the Montreal Canadiens at Gila River Arena, and I wasn't looking at the puck. Heshka shot it from the point. It hit my skate and went in. But the grandkids are going to hear about me going end to end, splitting the D, and going top cheese on Carey Price. So that's how my grandkids are going to hear about it. But in all seriousness, it wasn't very pretty, Rod.
We'll say, grandkids, there was no video back then. Just trust me. This is a story on it. Just trust me. I got to ask you this. I'm a huge NLL fan. I'm a Saskatchewan Rush season ticket holder. So when I saw you jaw-jacking the Vancouver Stealth, now the Warriors, I thought it was hilarious. And then I saw when it worked out with them and you said that they were bullying me. I actually thought you were serious at first, that they were, what'd you say, bullying or harassing you, the players?
Yeah, your fans are crazy. Grandma Rush as well. I know that recently she'd gotten sick. Is she doing all right?
As far as I know, she's doing well. We haven't seen them in a year. The league shut down. So as far as I know, she's come through it, yeah.
It was a very unique experience. Like, I'd never played lacrosse growing up, but I know a lot of hockey players had, and how important it was, not only their conditioning, but their hand-eye coordination for doing it in the off season and not necessarily having to getting on the ice and getting that break. So they just wanted a little bit more traction towards their team, and they thought, hey, let's do something silly, do a collaboration in order to bring over hockey fans to the lacrosse community in order to give it more awareness. And we did that, the silly video. I said that I was going to go and try out for the team. And Rod, let me tell you, lacrosse is so much harder than it looks. Of course, I have a ton of respect for it before I'd even done it. I couldn't figure out how to shoot. I could barely catch a ball. Going up and down, the physicality alone of it is on a different level than the NHL. The amount of abuse that guys take in front of the net in lacrosse, some guys, I know they're flying by the crease sometimes, but some guys are willing to sit in the paint and they just get hammered away on. And my experience watching those 2 games in the NLL were awesome. And now I've kind of even started paying attention to field lacrosse. So tons of respect for those guys. And I hope that they can get that league back going soon here.
Oh, yeah, they just abuse each other, and it's legal. I'd love to see a team play.
It's like medieval time dinner and tournament. That's what it's like, a modern day version of that.
It's exactly what it is. I'd love to see a team in Phoenix playing in the downtown arena where the Suns play. Talking stick, I think they still call it, right? Last one, Biz.
Yeah.
When I talk to the older folks, I say Paul is the Don Cherry of this generation. And I want to know your thoughts on that label, because I believe you are.
Yeah, guys, we're kind of just hanging out in our own little sector of the internet. Don is the GOAT. With the way everything went down, it was really unfortunate, because I believe with what he's done for the hockey community that, it was really hard to see it end that way. And I mean, if anyone would give me that praise, I would take it with honor. I think Don's an incredible guy, and he does a lot, of course, for the veterans and people who serve. So, I'm going to deflect that, and I appreciate you saying that. But Don's the GOAT, and he's the OG, and I have the utmost respect for him.
He is, and we just had him on not that long ago, and it was unbelievable because he broke down, Biz. He actually said, because Daryl Sutter and Tiger Williams and guys had said that what you just said, that Graves had been railroaded out, and it's terrible the way that they treated him. And Graves is like, I thought people would forget about me. I'm like, are you kidding me, Graves? But that tells you how humble a guy he is, similar to the answer that you just had.
Yeah, it was just an unfortunate incident. And actually, Rod, when that all went down, I was doing the hometown hockey with Ron McLean, and it was the craziest thing, because you could see how much it was affecting Ron, and it was still, all the wheels were in motion, where a decision really even hadn't been made at that point. And I think it was just really a tough time on the hockey community, especially maybe the old school group. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're trying to advance as a society, and I think that maybe an apology would have helped out at the time. And it was just like, it was so crazy. It happened so quick, and it was just one of these things where I think it was tough. It was tough to see, man. And I can't really find the words to express how I feel about how it all went down. But it was just a crazy time, and I wish him the best. And I believe that, he should at some point get a send off to thank him for what he's done.
Should be a statue of him in front of the CBC building on Front Street in downtown Toronto. But when Graves was on, Biz, he's not apologizing. He referred to us as you people, so he doubled down on it. And it's funny, like it was a stretch of 3 days deciding whether Graves was going to keep his job or not. It felt like 3 months, right? Like it was a national crisis. What's going to happen with Don Cherry? But anyways, Biz, for what it's worth, I'm super proud of what you guys are doing there, man. And you just carry that flag so well as a Canadian, and what we're following very close to what you're doing. So thanks for the time. Keep it up, my man, and all the best in 2021. Go Yotes.
Boys, thanks for having me on, and thank you. I'll let the boys know here about the support, and if you can ever get back to a game, we'll get the rebuild going again.
I love it. Let's do it. Not 5 years. All right, thanks, Biz. Paul Bissonnette, Biz Nasty, joining us from the Valley of the Sun. Might be our biggest interview ever right there. You just saw it. We made history today.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Addiction. It destroys relationships, families, and lives. It makes individuals and the people who love them feel powerless. But the good news is that addiction is a treatable illness. At Aurora Recovery Center, we provide everything you need to build a solid foundation for your recovery, with holistic, evidence-based treatment tailored to each individual. Located in Gimli, Manitoba, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg, Aurora can help regardless of whether or not you feel ready or have tried before. Aurora Recovery Center. Recovery for life. Visit aurorarecoverycenter.com for more information today.
Hey, Dawn.
Hey, Quinn.
We have a surprise for you.
Oh, my.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Hey, welcome back to the best of the Rod Pedersen Show. This is the Moose, Darren Dupont, and I want to thank you and say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody. Wherever you may be watching from, hey, we're still not that far away from the text line, so make sure you hit us up, 902-518-3033. We'll get to you. This would normally be Taco Time Viewer Takeover, but I just want to say thank you for being with us throughout the year, and look forward to having your support again in 2022. And I hope you're enjoying this look down memory lane. Great clips, Paul Bissonnette, Brian Burke. It's fun. We got more coming up in hour 2, so stick around here on the Rod Pedersen Show Best of the Year.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
I started the Shatler Lacrosse Academy 3 years ago, and my main goal for the province of Saskatchewan was to spread the game and the awareness of lacrosse. Jeff Shatler here, number 77 with the Saskatchewan Rush. I currently play forward, 16 years pro. I live, work, and play in the province of Saskatchewan. Direct West's mission is to grow Saskatchewan economy by helping small local businesses win with digital advertising services, but they are also a major supporter of local sport, art, and charitable organizations. Year after year, Direct West continues to put their money where their mouth is, and ensuring the minor sports and art and music festivals can continue to thrive in our province. They continue to do all they can to promote our communities and assist nonprofit charitable organizations in the effort to improve the quality of life in the province of Saskatchewan. I am proud to work with Direct West and call the province of Saskatchewan my home.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445 or log on to deervalleygolf.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics, Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming at the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. It's the Moose here checking in. We're getting different sets, different wardrobes. We're moving around quite a bit, but it is the holidays, and we're glad to have you with us, as these are the best of the year shows. I might say best of the week, but these are the best of the year shows. We're going back. We're reviewing some of the moments, what happened throughout the year in sports, and we're doing this all from different holiday places. Today, I'm in my old high school gymnasium. This is back in Wynyard, spending some time with family, and I wanted to cut out a few minutes to get in here and enjoy this trip down memory lane. And this was a wild year, the COVID continuation, things evolved in sports. And one of the things we talked about quite a bit that came up in the summer was the CFL XFL conversation. The CFL talked about formally being in talks with the XFL, with their group and with Dwayne Johnson and their organization. Really wild stuff. But then before the season started, the CFL announced and the XFL announced that talks were going to be done. They were done. They were ended. And we had Arash Madani on our show to talk about that. And it was a wild situation because everybody said it was a waste of time. It was crazy. And I remember thinking, no conversation is a waste of time. It's all constructive. Even if you could have been spending your time doing something else, it's still constructive. Do we think the XFL's and the CFL's potential partnership is dead forever? I don't. But we also have got lots of time to go down that road. So we'll see where it ends up. But it was a really fun discussion. And Arash kind of goes off on this whole thing. He's a very real guy. I love talking to Arash. And when we found out that the CFL and XFL conversation was done, we had to get our man on the phone to talk about it. So let's go back in time and let's talk about, let's go back and revisit when Arash joined the show right after those CFL, XFL talks ended.
CFL, XFL have broken up. Your thoughts?
Rod, can you answer me a question?
I'll try.
What has the CFL accomplished in the last 11 months in terms of moving its business model forward besides cutting costs at every turn? What have they done to generate new revenue streams?
I'm realizing this is a rhetorical question, so you continue.
No, but that's my question. Because Randy Ambrosie, last summer, when they canceled the season, said this is going to be a valuable opportunity for us to go generate new revenue and increase and help our business model. So what have they done? They have cut costs at every turn. They have slashed staff at every turn. They have come up with a hotel deal with the Westons to streamline travel costs. They have reduced the number of globals on a roster Remember, look, what have Randy's two big projects been? One, CFL 2.0, which is the global program, and two is this XFL merger. A merger that the league, through its mouthpieces, wanted everyone to know and think that if you do not go forward this merger, that the league will not financially survive. And now suddenly that blew up, and suddenly the governors have realized, oh, wait a minute, we can? So which is it going to be? What have you accomplished other than wasting time? And the fact that the Edmonton Elks football organization came out and said, we are pleased, that was the word they used, Roddy, pleased that this song and dance, that this charade, these are my words, not theirs, is now over. That's all this has been. A complete, colossal waste of time, energy, and resources.
Yes, I completely agree. And there are people wagging their finger at me saying, oh, you said this was going to happen with the XL and that XFL. And I'm like, don't come at me. How am I supposed to predict what the CFL is going to do when they don't know what they're going to do? Correct? But they're going to play games this year, and I think that what you're seeing from the fans, and you're probably hearing it too, is all is good because we're playing. And I guess my question to you, because it came from a viewer yesterday, was there was a merger, now there's not. They seem down the road. What changed other than you said the governors realized they're not going to fold if this doesn't happen? What made them come to that conclusion or realization?
Well, the CFL had no leverage in anything. It was the XFL was running the conversation here in terms of we're going to do it our way, and you guys are either going to be on board or you're not. I mean, that's the bottom line in all of this. What did the CFL have to really, offer other than just 9 franchises for a U.S. broadcast deal? And they were going to have the baby go out with the bathwater if they were going to move forward with this. Look, I'm told that it's not just Edmonton that's relieved about this. I'm told there are multiple teams that are happy that the charade is now over. This was just desperation to try something, because this is the problem, Rod. It's one thing if you went down this road, but that you diversified your portfolio and had a number of other initiatives beyond just single game wagering that's going to help your business model. I'm still trying to find out what new revenue streams they have come up with. Roddy, what is CFL 2.0? What has the global program done for the CFL other than provided punters? The fact that they've reduced the number of global players on the roster is telling, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, he talked to the coaches. The guys can't play.
Oh, yeah, don't. Yeah, exactly. They can't play. And look, it's great they're playing. It's important they're playing. They had to play. That's very important. And they're going to go through with a season. But I mean, look, how far ahead is the CFL they had a full year to start really looking ahead. So come December, where is the league? Besides the Grey Cup fan base fiasco, what else have they done? They're right back at square one here, Rod. They didn't use this time other than to get a hotel deal and to cut costs at every turn.
By the way, from Noogsy, and we got about 90 seconds, just so you know. Noogsy says, coming back after a pandemic might be a decent revenue stream. May I? But for how long? And what kind of marketing campaign is that? There will be a boost, I think, from ticket sales here. But for how long?
And how much new revenue is there going to be, Roddy? Because the people who had purchased season tickets back at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020 and said, yeah, you guys keep our money, those people coming to the stadium aren't providing new revenues for your club. So yes, you will sell single game tickets, you will sell new season tickets, but how much new revenue actually is there?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we got 50 seconds. The Blue Jays, are they a contender or not?
They need to add 3 pitchers, 1 starter, 2 more relievers to become a contender. I've been told, Roddy, by multiple people in the organization that Craig Kimbrell is on the radar. The Cubs, going into last night, had lost 11 in a row. Kimbrel is a World Series closer. He's under team control for 2 years, this season and next. He's somebody they'd have to give up a lot for. I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm telling you is internal conversations are happening with Kimbrel.
They tell me we're out of time. Arlen Bruce says, Arash Madani, when I met you, you were shy and quiet. Now you're like a CFL politician. I'll leave you with that. See you in hour 2, everybody.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital Ford Lincoln.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming, the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com. All right, we continue on through Hour 2, and this is the Best of the Year show. Now, Hour 2 is presented by Original 16, and they're wonderful beer brewed in Saskatchewan. Love having Original 16 on as a supporter, and thank them so much for their support of our show. Yeah, shooting hoops in the commercial breaks. It's fun hanging out with you here on the holidays, and we get set for 2022 when we're back with all brand new shows on Tuesday. In the meantime, we love that you support us and support the podcast as well, The Rod Pedersen Show, and The Rod Pedersen Show Daily Blitz, wherever you happen to get your podcasts. Join us daily New podcast episodes are up every single day. So it's really great. Hope you enjoy that as we roll through this. But the CFL talk continues today on the Best of shows. We talked about the CFL, XFL, what happened there, and then those talks ending. Well, something else happened during the 2021 season, and that was the lowest scoring season since I believe sometime in the 70s. And then we had, a lack of fans. We didn't have the sellouts. We had a lot of issues in the Canadian Football League. The great thing is it ended with a wildly entertaining playoffs and one of the great Grey Cups of recent memory. It was a wonderful Grey Cup game that went to overtime. So it was so much fun to end the season. But during the year, we dealt with low scoring. We had issues. We had COVID problems. We had fans not showing up to games. We didn't have sellouts in some of our big markets. And we had Dave Naylor from TSN on. He came on to talk about this. So as we roll back through memory lane and go back through the best of the year, here's a look back at Dave Naylor talking about why CFL games are low scoring and what's going on with the Canadian Football League.
Speaking of Toronto, let's go there now. CFL on TSN's Dave Naylor joins us, and we'll get to the inevitable questions, which I saw him addressing on SportsCenter, which was Trevor Harris. We'll start with the poll question, Dave, if we can bring Nails in. Hey, David, are you entertained by CFL games here in this there he is. Are you entertained by CFL games in this lowest scoring season since 1974?
Not as often as I would like to be. And I do think, there's been a few games even the final score turns out not that badly. But if you were watching at the end of the third quarter, it was 12-9 or something, right? And we got a little explosion in the fourth quarter. So, no, the scoring is down. In fact, this morning I was looking, I'm trying to avoid the inevitable comparisons to the National Football League, but they're having a high scoring year, right? And you go through the Sunday scoreboard and you count the number of games where there's more than 50 points. And then you count the number of games in the CFL when there's more than 50 points. We did have a 35-16 game on the week. So there was a 51-point game, but everything else was under that. We need more scoring. Yeah, we need more highlights. We need more touchdown passes. All of those things are down. And I think a lot of this was anticipated. I don't think this is a complete shock. I think the number probably that we don't talk about enough is that on opening week rosters of the CFL, more than 30% of the players had never played a CFL game. I mean, that's basically a third of the league that is an expansion team. Then you throw in the other things, the time off. I think 7 of 9 teams have new offensive coordinators this year. It's reflected in the interceptions, it's reflected in the touchdown passes, and it's reflected in the scores.
So I guess you're talking, if not to the same people as me, although you probably are, you're talking about the same things with those people as me. And all those things have come up. Oh, the year off is really hurting. You probably saw in the game notes, the Calgary SAS game, the last one, they had 50 players in their first contract. And I said, what does that say? Yeah. And they said the teams have learned they can win with younger, cheaper players. Not necessarily not as talented, but just cheaper. So is this a trend or a fad? Where do you see it going, Dave?
Well, I think the other one is, of course, injured quarterbacks, right? That's another one that is, although that was a factor in 2019 as well. So that, I think you got to throw that one in. It was funny. I was looking at the interception to touchdown interception ratio last week, and it's about 0.78 interceptions for every touchdown, which would be the highest one since 2009. And there was a period in the league in the mid sort of teens where that number was much, much lower, like just slightly over half an interception per touchdown. So, that number is up. I do think it's a worrisome trend. I mean, one of the things I look at sometimes with 4-down football is when you see a 13-10 score in a 4-down football game, that can be an entertaining game because teams can drive the field. They're just not getting points. When you see 13-10 or lower scores in 3-down football, I just find that with 3-down football, the nature of it means it's hard to have an entertaining, low-scoring 3-down football game. You sometimes do in 4-down football. And it can happen in 3-down football, but for the most part, it's a game that thrives on scoring. So I think the football operations people track this stuff pretty carefully. I don't think you want to overreact to it because you do have so many factors that are unique to this season. But it's worth keeping an eye on, and it's worth talking about at the very least with people who are smarter about this stuff than I am, because the CFL game needs to be high scoring and entertaining. And again, I don't want to get back to NFL comparisons, but it seems like every time the NFL drops a game in prime time, I mean, they have dogs like everybody else. Look at yesterday. How many games did they have that were double-digit margins in that game? Tons, all over. But, you get that New England-Dallas game that goes late on the late slate, so everybody's seeing that. And then they go into Seattle-Pittsburgh, which ends up in the way it seems like every primetime game has ended up for the NFL this season.
The viewers, the fans are awake and they're chiming in with questions. The Stamps fans particularly. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, well, the Stampeders did put up 39 points Saturday night. From the general in Calgary, hey, Nails, you're a legend. How do you feel about Calgary's turnaround? It's the biggest story in the CFL right now is the Stamps winners of 3 in a row.
I always feel like I must be on topic when I'm talking about something that morning that then all of a sudden a fan wants to ask me about. Because I was talking with one of our producers about this morning and saying, here come the Stamps, right? We all thought it was, okay, here's the year. But let's look at their losses, right? They have a 3-point loss to Toronto in week number 1. They have a 6-point loss to BC, in which Bo Levi Mitchell played with a broken foot and threw 4 picks, okay? Their other 2 losses are Labor Day to Edmonton in the game that Trevor Harris threw for 398 yards and 4 touchdowns. We'll get to that in a minute. And then an inexplicable loss to Hamilton, where they lost to a David Watford-led Hamilton Tiger Cat team. Of those 4 losses, only one of them I would put in the bad category. That loss at Hamilton was sort of that was the moment when people started really wondering, was Bo Levi Mitchell going to turn this around? But you look at them now, the back-to-back against Saskatchewan, what they did this weekend against BC, hammering them. Here come the Stamps. And I think a lot of this, and I think this is similar with Hamilton. I remember saying this when they got off to the 0-2 start, is I think sometimes the coaching staff's there with Dave Dickinson and his staff and how much stability there is on his staff. And the same thing for Orlando Steinauer and Hamilton, all the stability on his staff. I thought good coaching would help those teams find their way. I mean, they weren't bad teams. We know Hamilton wasn't a bad team. We know Calgary isn't a bad team. They had some issues, they had some struggles, they had some turnover like everybody else. But I think the coaching in both those instances is a big part of what brought those teams back. And I feel very good about the Stamps right now. I think they've really kind of shown who they are the last little while. And Bo Levi Mitchell's starting to look like the old Bo Levi Mitchell. And the other thing about them is the receiver turnover, right? There were no Juwan Breskerson, no Eric Rogers. There's just been so much turnover on that team at receiver. And even with Kamar Jordan now, so when you look at them doing it with Markeith Ambles and a bunch of guys that they got at the back of the Canadian draft, I mean, the very back, right? That's another thing that as those guys have got more playtime this season, I think you've seen Calgary play better and better.
We have 2 minutes on the Trevor Harris trade. Is he being scapegoated by the Elks? What went into that trade, and how do you see it working out for the Elks?
I think it's a combination of both here. I think there was some fed up with Trevor Harris in the building, and I think there was some really enamored with Taylor Cornelius. And you don't see that very often, that a team will make a leap off a veteran quarterback to a guy who's unproven. This isn't the National Football League where you take a guy second overall and pay him $60 million, and it's just a matter of time till he's going to be your guy. This is a street free agent league, and we've seen lots of guys with great resumes. So that's the biggest risk I think Edmonton's taken here. Kind of like when they traded Ricky Ray and said, we think Stephen Giles and Matt Nichols can get it done. Not really. Those guys didn't turn into, the next franchise quarterback for Edmonton. Now you've got a similar situation. They've traded away a franchise quarterback. They think that Taylor Cornelius can be that guy, but if he's not, it's going to be a tough situation. In terms of Trevor Harris in Montreal, he's going in as the backup. He's going to learn the playbook, learn the schemes, learn the personnel. And I think if Matthew Schultz continues to play well, we'll see him start the rest of the season and take them right in the playoffs. I think the only way Trevor Harris starts a game here is if Matthew Schultz gets hurt or his performance diminishes over the course of the rest of the season. The fear that Montreal had watching that game on Saturday against Ottawa was that every time every time Matthew Schultz dropped back for a pass, they were holding their breath because they thought if he gets sacked and he gets hurt or he scrambles and takes a hit at the end of the run, we got nobody on our roster who's ever thrown a CFL pass. Now they have that comfort zone, and he gives them options should Schultz struggle down the stretch.
Alouettes Argos Friday Night Football should be a dandy. David, wonderful update. Thanks. Keep up the good work. We're watching every day. Good to see you, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Rod. Good work as well. Take care.
Thank you. TSN's Dave Naylor joining us from The Big Smoke, Hogtown.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445 or log on to deervalleygolf.ca.
I started the Shatler Lacrosse Academy 3 years ago, and my main goal for the province of Saskatchewan was to spread the game and the awareness of lacrosse. Jeff Shatler here, number 77 with the Saskatchewan Rush. I currently play forward, 16 years pro. I live, work, and play in the province of Saskatchewan. Direct West's mission is to grow Saskatchewan economy by helping small local businesses win with digital advertising services, but they are also a major supporter of local sport, art, and charitable organizations. Year after year, Direct West continues to put their money where their mouth is, and ensuring the minor sports and art and music festivals can continue to thrive in our province. They continue to do all they can to promote our communities and assist nonprofit charitable organizations in the effort to improve the quality of life in the province of Saskatchewan. I am proud to work with Direct West and call the province of Saskatchewan my home.
In the heat of the summer, familiar sounds, feeling the air, it's the best thing anywhere. Just give me back my game. 'Cause I live for the drama, I live for the emotion. No one can take me down, bring me back my football.
BetRegal.net, exclusive sports gaming partner of the CFL.
Prairie Mobile is your SaskTel authorized dealer. Whether you're looking for talk, text, or data, shared, unlimited, or business plans, Prairie Mobile will help you find the SaskTel wireless plan that's right for you. Visit us online at prairiemobile.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Welcome back, everybody. And of course, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and certainly all the best in 2022. We hope and think that it can't be much worse than the last 2 years, but who knows? Because as you recall, we said that last year, and you're watching our best of episode from 2021 of the Rod Pedersen Show. A lot of great guests on the program today. We've had a lot of guests throughout the year. We have a lot of guests, great guests every day. And of course, we've heard from Paul Bissonnette, Biz Nasty from the Spit and Chicklets podcast here today. And coming up, you're going to hear from our good friend Julie Stewart-Binks from Drinks with Binks and Call It a Night, her popular shows, her award-winning shows out of the United States. And for those that maybe you're thinking you know that name, but you can't remember from where, as soon as you're going to see her face, you will remember her probably from CTV Regina. She's done some work from Fox Sports World. out of Winnipeg, and she got to be a very good friend of ours in her time in Regina. But one thing that we're going to talk about with JSB coming up here is the COVID situation in the National Hockey League. This is our last visit with JSB, which was in the fall when the New York Islanders were in the throes of a long losing streak, which they might be now. Of course, we're in a little bit of a COVID delay here in the National Hockey League, but JSB has been living in New York for a few years now, and she knows enough now about Long Island sports fans that they might be the most rabid, the most angry, and the most violent in all of the National Hockey League. And Julie joined us to talk about this COVID situation in the NHL, and I think what we will be going through this with Darren on other segments in this program today, but it's not something that the fans really understand. I don't think how bad it's been for the players, how bad it's been for the coaches. Of course, the people that we were the closest to in 2021 were junior hockey players, and they were in Regina. The WHL East Division hub was in Regina. Of course, the BC division in the Western Hockey League had Kelowna and Kamloops hubs, and they were in there for over 2 months. And when the players and coaches came out, for the most part, about 98% of them said, we're never doing it again. That was last spring. And of course, they fortunately never had to when the season started up this last September. But it's been tough on them. And as you know, just before Christmas, Winnipeg Jets head coach Paul Maurice resigned, saying he lost his love and passion for the job while in the Edmonton bubble in the National Hockey League way back last spring. And I know we're all kind of screwed up on COVID times. Where are we? All the rest. One thing we know is the New York Islanders didn't win the Stanley Cup last year, but they got close. This year they've been off to a tough start. Julie Stewart-Binks joined us from New York to talk about the Islanders and the NHL and COVID. Let's go to New York now. Julie Stewart-Binks, longtime friend of ours, wants to talk hockey. How you doing, JSB?
Hey, I'm doing great, Rod. Thank you so much for having me on. And Canada's team, I definitely don't feel that way about the Montreal Canadiens.
Nobody does. Nobody does. And I'm having a hell of a lot of fun with it. I can tell you that, Julie.
Yeah, so have I. I've been just making TikToks, as Clark knows. He's quite the TikTok guy. And I've been just throwing a lot of stuff, throwing the Montreal Canadiens under the bus, because I tried to explain it to my counterparts in the United States who say, oh, well, but it's Canada's team. It's the Canadian team. It's like, it's not like the Raptors or the Blue Jays, which is the only team of that league in the country where the whole country gets behind it. There are many teams across the country and many different, areas of Canada. And no, especially as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, I do not want to see the Montreal Canadiens hoist the cup.
Well, that's kind of why I put Vegas up there as Canada's team, because Las Vegas is the whole world city. So let's say that. Now we don't have to fight about the 7 other teams in Canada. But listen, as a Toronto gal, and we got a lot of viewers in Eastern Canada, I want your take on the CN Tower being lit up in Montreal Canadiens colors.
God.
Take it away.
No. And whoever did that just didn't understand the pulse, I believe, of the rivalry, of the fact that this isn't, I'm sorry. I feel bad for the person that is in charge of that, because I would never want to have that fall on my shoulders, because that was just like a very big no-no, especially in the city of which you just dominated in Game 7. And now you're going to basically dance on their grave by putting the CN Tower in the colors of the Montreal Canadiens. Big, big, big no-no. Was not a fan of that. And you know what? Like, Habs fans have just been coming at me real hard. Same with Islanders fans. It's kind of like the two series in a way, right? Like you talked about, we Vegas Golden Knights. I'm obviously not on the team. I'm not even like a super fan of them, but they need more offense. And because they haven't been able to really generate as much as we thought they would, but it's like that offensive prowess that they had in the regular season. Same with Tampa Bay Lightning. And then you have these two teams like the Habs and the Islanders that are both just like clogging up the neutral zone and just being so hard to play against that, like, maybe that's what the key is in the playoffs.
So I got a message last night because I was doing another show last night. I didn't watch the New York Tampa game till I got home. I saw the end. It's all I needed. But they said, hey, Nassau's rocking. And they had a pact last night. So Does it reverberate where you're sitting right now that the Islanders have forced a Game 7? What's the reaction today?
Well, I'm in Manhattan, so this is like more of Rangers country. And it's just like everyone, there is people here do not like the Islanders at all. Also, they're kind of like the Anaheim Ducks of California, where they're not like, even if they were to go to the Stanley Cup final, it just wouldn't. This is a basketball city. Like people would still talk about the Knicks or the Yankees or the Mets, and then the Rangers, and then obviously NFL, but the Islanders are really far down the list. I think that what we saw last night at the Coliseum is exactly what I expected from Islanders fans, is that they are very troubled people inside. Their identity is hating other people and hating other teams. And that's why they're so obsessed still with John Tavares leaving. And I can't tell you how many people, like when Tavares got injured, and I know this is like awful, like they were happy about that here in like Islanders fans, which is disgusting first and foremost, but also secondly, get over it. Like you won. I mean, like you're doing great. Like your ex is gone and you're doing well. Don't worry about them. Stop scrolling and looking at them on Instagram. Like just get over them at this point. So they're just like, they're a lot. They're a lot to deal with. So I was not surprised that they were throwing beers at their own players. And Ryan Callahan had a great tweet that was like, imagine had they won what Nassau Coliseum would have, or had they lost and Tampa won what they would have done.
No kidding. By the way, there's Damian DeMesa writes in. I want to read this. He says, I can't wait for the CFL to start. Looking forward to Calgary kicking butt and winning another Grey Cup. I'll be watching from Florida. Hope the merger happens so I can see the CFL live. Damien, we will talk about that to get our CFL news in, because there is a breaking news today in the Canadian Football League that just came down. But yeah, talk about that. I got a notification because I turned the game off as soon as it ended. They said New York fans littering the ice, what could be the last ever game in Nassau County Coliseum. So that's kind of on point, JSB. Is that what you're telling me with Long Islanders, that they would do that?
Yeah, and it is. It's exactly on point. And my boyfriend's a Rangers fan. He kind of explained to me a lot of the history of the two teams and whatnot. Just he grew up on Long Island and is a Rangers fan. And it's just sort of how they acted is exactly what their identity is. And it's, to me, and I don't think Senators fans would do this, because I think much higher of Canadians in general, not Canadians, but Canadians, is that their identity is hating others. Like the Ottawa Senators hate the Toronto Maple Leafs so much. They don't love their team that much. As much as they hate other teams. And that's kind of like the Islanders. I love saying all this because like everyone's just going to be like, ooh, Julie, like you suck. Stop talking about sports. But, this is the truth.
You're okay with it by now. And by the way, you worked here in the sweatpants capital long enough that whenever somebody throws something on the field or the ice here, I'm like, yeah, surprised there wasn't more. Our fans aren't a ton different than New York. Did you sense that in your time here?
Oh my gosh, no. Everyone in Saskatchewan and Regina was amazing and so nice and so sweet and fantastic. And that's why I still have a real soft spot when every time I see, Jordan Eberle score, Braden Point, like all these guys that either played there, grew up there, have a connection to Saskatchewan. It's like, it's just, that is like I feel it's like the formative years of my life, even though I was like 100 years old at that point anyway. But I just feel like a soft spot for the prairies.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC. Unwrap a completely customized vehicle ordering experience. Reserve a pre-ordered unit that's already on its way. Or get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on the lot and ready to roll. And don't forget, we pay big for your used vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Plus, our service department is your winter headquarters. Get special pricing on name brand tires, storage, maintenance, and more. And we always offer free vehicle pickup and delivery. This holiday season, wish your way at Capital GMC.
In the heat of the summer, familiar sounds, feel in the air, it's the best thing anywhere. Just give me back my game. 'Cause I live for the drama, I live for the emotion. No one can take me down, bring me back my football.
BetRegal.net, exclusive sports gaming partner of the CFL.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445 or log on to deervalleygolf.ca.
A Landmark Cinemas $30 gift card with $40 in great movie savings is the perfect gift to give. Or give to yourself. Get yours today in theater or online at landmarkcinemas.com and make it a merry movie season. Landmark Cinemas, for movie lovers.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Welcome back to the Rod Pedersen Show's Best of the Year. We were talking some CFL. Now we're going to get into a little NFL because it's been a wild 2021. Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. We've had COVID issues. And how about this? Aaron Rodgers, was he vaccinated? Was he not vaccinated? We don't really know. Well, we do know. He wasn't vaccinated, but he thought he was immunized. And that whole situation was a crazy one. And I think Aaron Rodgers' brand took a little bit of a hit during COVID. Now, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, and I respect people's right to their own opinions and to do what they need to do. And, you know, Aaron Rodgers has been able to do his press conferences via Zoom and whatever he's done since. But no matter what happens with Aaron Rodgers, he continues to produce on the field. He's had the toe injury. He's had other things going on. But he continues to produce, and the Green Bay Packers are one of, if not the best team in the National Football League heading into the new year. Dangerous, I know. But Tory Gurley's been on our show a lot throughout the years, and Tory played with Aaron Rodgers. He's been in the locker room with Aaron Rodgers. He's an Aaron Rodgers guy, I think, but he had some strong thoughts about Aaron Rodgers. So you're going to hear from that coming up, Tory on the Aaron Rodgers situation. And then you're going to hear, I believe it's from Arash Madani, talking about the LA Rams. That's interesting. Cooper Kupp right now could be the MVP of the NFL. He's had an unbelievable year. Now, they made the trade to get rid of Jared Goff and bring in Matt Stafford with that trade with Detroit and the Lions. That was pretty wild, but it set up the Rams to take another step forward. Sean McVay's got his guy in Stafford. He's happy. Robert Woods got hurt, though. They lost him during the season, but they brought in OBJ. And this was, long after we had Arash on the show. Arash came on and talked about the Rams being the most intriguing team in the NFL. Well, they've done that and then some, because they're going to host the Super Bowl. They very well may be in the Super Bowl. That's the wild part in all of this. So here's Tory Gurley and Aaron Rodgers, and then Arash Madani on the NFL and the Rams as we look back here on the best of the year.
We bring in our NFL insider, Browns and Packers alum Tory Gurley today. And Tory, let's jump right into it. Man, if you don't mind, it's official this morning. The Cleveland Browns have released Odell Beckham Jr. It seems very much to me like an Antonio Brown situation with the Steelers and Raiders, but maybe it's not. What is going on there with your former club?
Yeah, it never was a great match for Baker or Odell. Odell is used to being in a volume type of system where you get 8 to 10 targets a game, and Eli Manning loved him. At New York, that was the only true skill player they had, like someone that was elite, and they were able to build the team around him when it came to game planning and just getting him the ball. But in Cleveland, there are just too many chefs in the kitchen. You have Jarvis Landry, you have David Njoku, you have two studs at running back, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. So now those targets or just scheming up plays like he was accustomed to, it just came to a halt, where now, you have all this friction where the ball is not being thrown on time, and it got messy with him bringing LeBron James into it or bringing Odell Beckham Sr. into it. And I think it's the best fit for Cleveland. Just let him go. And I just hopefully he doesn't end up in Tampa Bay.
Can you imagine? Could you? And he would star there. But at 4-4, the Browns are in last place of the AFC North. Safe to say this season has not gone the way they thought. They were picked to be a top 5 NFL team, Tory.
Yes, a lot of, I had them projected to be a playoff team and maybe be in a Super Bowl, represent the AFC. And it's far from that. Baker is in a contract year. And, as we mentioned at the beginning of the season, is that, this team is going to go as he goes. And right now, with them being so erratic, that's how they look. And they're at this 4-4. And they got a tough game against the Bengals on Sunday. And, it wouldn't shock me if the Bengals go out and get the win. But if the Browns find a way to win, despite all this turmoil, then that lets me know then that, Odell Beckham really wasn't the best move for them to have in the locker room.
Told you I would ask you about Aaron Rodgers. They go in, the Packers, into Kansas City on Sunday without Aaron because of COVID protocol. What a mess with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Did you see this coming?
No, I'm shocked and somewhat, disappointed, because I definitely look up to Aaron and for him to, I guess, use the words that would immunize or however he phrased it with the media, it had us all thinking like, okay, he went out, got the shot, and he's going to do whatever it takes to help the team. And now putting himself in position where, he was breaking protocols along the way, and now you leave it up to the NFL to come down on you with any consequences they want. And, you're at the mercy of Roger Goodell, and we know how that thing works, man. Like, Roger could do whatever he wants, and that puts the Packers in a bind. So I'm hoping that, he learns from this, gets the shot, so he can be there for his team, because right now they're 7-1 and they're rolling. And what you're doing is giving a kid like Jordan Love an opportunity to show the world, what he's working with. And if he goes out and plays well against Kansas City and win, Aaron literally just, pushed himself off the cliff, and walked out of the door, because now they're going to take Jordan Love because he's so much cheaper. I think Aaron, his cap hit is extremely high. So if you can get somebody still on a rookie deal, you can pay everybody else on the team and build a team around that. So the next, 2 weeks are going to be huge for Jordan Love. And, I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers could, get it together.
I was asked why Cam Newton hadn't signed with anybody yet, and I felt he was like any veteran free agent waiting for the best opportunity even once the season kicked off. But now there's teams that have had a need, and they've just gone with their backups. Cam's still sitting on the street. What's the story there, Tory?
I just think his personality. Cam is a character, and he demands a lot of attention, and it's not because is garnered or whatever. It's just you can't help but to look at him, man. He is very energetic, and he's that guy in a room that everybody has eyes on. So you don't want that cloud to be hanging over your quarterback one at the time, and it's going to take it's going to take damn near a whole quarterback room getting hurt and being out for the year for somebody to bring in Cam Newton, because if not, guys just don't want to take a chance with, not guys, but front offices just don't want to take a chance at somebody that's so, looked at in a regard as almost like an icon, like Tim Tebow, where it's just drama, unnecessary drama. If Tebow, worked out in practice or he did anything, he has more cameras around him than the actual starter, and you just don't want that to interfere with the team goal of winning.
I'd like to get your take on through 2 weeks of the NFL preseason. How are your Vikings performing? It's been pretty quiet out of there from what I see. They're not the Cam Newton story. They're not the Trevor Lawrence story. They're not the Justin Fields story. Been kind of quiet in many. I'm sure you're following it.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet there. Kirk Cousins made a bunch of noise because he's an idiot with all his coach stuff. I think there are a few teams this year that are going to be really fascinating to watch. One of them is how Green Bay is going to emerge out of this. Look, they were the bit of conversation coming throughout the entire offseason. What's Rodgers going to do? What is he not going to do? They bring Randall Cobb back. Can Randall Cobb really play anymore? I'm not sure. And how is that whole dynamic going to go? I can't remember the last time I've heard so much hype about a quarterback in the division as I have for Justin Fields. When does Justin Fields become the starter in Chicago for a franchise that has not had a franchise quarterback in forever? And already the crowds are booing Andy Dalton over there. What I find interesting, Roddy, is nobody is talking about really, to me, the most intriguing team of this entire league coming into this season, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. They go make the trade for Matthew Stafford. They were in the Super Bowl 3 years ago. They feel like they're a quarterback away. Their defense is stacked. They added Jalen Ramsey last year. Aaron Donald's coming back healthy. I really look. New Orleans has taken a step back. I don't see how Tampa can maintain the health that they did last year, to be healthy down the stretch of the entire month of December, January, and into February. The NFC is up for grabs, and if there's a team I'm investing in, it's the Los Angeles Rams, and we haven't heard a lot about them.
We've heard nothing about him other than a perceived injury to Matthew Stafford. Ray jammed his thumb really early on in training camp, but he didn't. I think he was back out the next day. He's the team, it seems like to me, right? I guess that's why everybody held their breath in LA when they thought Stafford had injured his thumb, but it's an interesting division out there. There's a lot of pressure on the Cardinals, as you know. There's always pressure on the Seahawks, always. And the 49ers haven't decided who their quarterback is yet. What's NFC North aside, what is the most interesting and intriguing division to you in the National Football League?
It's that one. It's the NFC West for sure. I'm interested in the AFC South, even though they're not a sexy division at all, because I want to see what Trevor Lawrence can do. I think it's unfair to ask too much of him on that dreadful team with that terrible roster, but he is the number one overall pick. Houston's a runaway train. Indianapolis won't have a quarterback for 5 to 12 weeks, whatever that diagnosis is. And the Titans coach has COVID, and they've been one of the most egregious COVID teams there are, even though they're stacked with talent. And I also think, Roddy, the AFC East is going to be very interesting because Buffalo was a win away from the Super Bowl last year. And Josh Allen just got a bundle of money, $150 million guaranteed dollars. Josh Allen took a massive step forward. And Buffalo has now deemed him the guy. Will he be the guy again? Can he do it? Can he live up to it? So those are two, and of course, Kansas City's Kansas City, right? So it's a weird season because outside of KC, I'm not sure if there's a runaway team that you could say, I really think they're definitively going to be playing, on the Sunday of the AFC or NFC championship game.
Oh, you obviously haven't seen the Dallas Cowboys yet, who have not played with Dakota Prescott nor Ezekiel Elliott in the preseason, or DeMarcus Lawrence. So we're just resting the big guns. Listen, I wanted to get your take on the Bills' new stadium, by the way. Did the mayor of Buffalo not come out, or, is there any threat of the Bills moving? I've never been to the Ralph. I assume you have. What is that stadium situation? Yeah, what's the stadium situation in Buffalo?
The stadium situation in Buffalo is one of the most decrepit in all of professional sports. But why are billionaires asking taxpayers to fund stadiums? I mean, it's fine if you're going to do that, but you're not going to charge them $200 a ticket and $12 a beer and $10 for a soft drink, right? Oh, wait, you are. So, what I find amazing, Rod, is that franchise valuations in the NFL last year, after next to no revenues coming in, no additional ticket revenues is what I mean, they went up something like $250 million per team. Why aren't the billionaires paying for a stadium? Taxpayers who pay for the stadium. That's what I wonder.
Hey, welcome back. The Best of the Year show continues from the high school in Wynyard. This is the Wynyard Composite High School, where I went to school, and we've been playing some basketball. We've been having some fun. And we've been going back and taking a trip down memory lane, revisiting some of the best moments from 2021. Lots has happened. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. We've talked about all that. The Montreal Canadiens have done their thing, made coaching changes. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals. We took our show on the road. We went to Montreal and Calgary and Edmonton and Winnipeg. And Rod's been in Florida, and I've been in Vancouver, and we've been to Saskatoon, and we've been all over. It's been a wonderfully exciting 2021. And I really don't know where we're going to go in 2022, but I know it'll be fun. And that's what's great. And I love having you guys along for the ride, the fans and everybody who watches this show. And we love interacting with you. And typically this would be a taco time viewer takeover segment. And I'm sure we're going to be interacting, and Rod might even be interacting with the comments right now. I don't have them up at the moment. But again, we love that. And we love our partnerships. So again, our text line is always open, even through the holidays, and we may even peek in there from time to time. Love getting the happy holiday messages. It's 902-518-3033. That's 902-518-3033 as we take care of just a few housekeeping items throughout the year. Again, YouTube, the place to find us. Game Plus Television Network. Love having that. We'll be back on the Tuesday in January. I believe, Jordan, that's the 3rd of January. Yeah, January the 3rd, back with brand new episodes. So continue to join these best ofs throughout the holidays. They're all on YouTube as well, any of the old episodes if you missed them. And hope you're enjoying the World Juniors. Hope you're enjoying a little bit more of what you've been able to do with your friends and family over the holidays. What's ahead in 2022? That's what I'm kind of looking ahead to now. We've been looking back throughout the day, but what's ahead? I look at the Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's coming up in the spring. But there's lots to determine since then. We saw how good the Vancouver Canucks were heading in. They had a 6-game winning streak. They had won 8 of 10 right before the shutdown. Can Vancouver find its way into the playoffs? That will be interesting. The Edmonton Oilers, they went through a little funk, but Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl had one heck of a first half of the season. That was kind of fun to watch. What's going on with the Winnipeg Jets? Paul Maurice decided to resign from being their head coach. And Dave Lowry takes over behind the bench. Where did they go? Where did the Calgary Flames end up? They've got a really good core. Daryl Sutter seems to have found the group and seems to have built the culture. That's going to be fun. And of course, out east, Montreal is just, unfortunately, Habs fans, it's tough. Unfortunately, it's tough for Ottawa, even though they're fun to watch. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing pretty well on top of the Atlantic, or second in the Atlantic. So that's always going to be a lot of fun. We're going to follow that really closely. Tons of NHL talk. We'll have tons of talk from Florida. We have other travel plans. We're going to be in Calgary coming up. It's going to be great. So thank you for joining us. And again, this has been the Rod Pedersen Show. Best of the year on Game Plus, YouTube, and listen live at rodpedersen.com.
Hey everybody, it's producer Clark. Get the Rod Pedersen Show on the go wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. The Rod Pedersen Show and the Rod Pedersen Show Daily Blitz now available wherever you get your podcasts. The Daily Blitz is our newest podcast featuring the warm-up every day, short and highly consumable. It's the Rod Pedersen Show podcast, now available on all major podcast platforms.